wondered at seeing your extraordinary chivalrous spirit, your endeavor to protect your devotees, your determination, your steadiness in lifting the great hill of Govardhan, your beautiful bodily features, and your astonishing characteristic of being pleased simply by accepting the prayers of your devotees and offenders. The above statement by the King of Heaven is an exact corroboration of Krishna's being Dhirodata. Many learned scholars have agreed to also accept Lord Ramachandra as Dhirodata, but all of Lord Ramachandra's qualities are also included in the character of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So, Dhirodata is the classic or archetypal romantic or military hero, the hero type. He's very strong, very grave, you know, speaks few words, but when he speaks, it's always very profound. And you know, his chivalrous spirit is very strong. He won't accept any insult from anyone, or he'll immediately be ready to fight. And this is the mood of a great king. So he unfailingly protects his subordinates. He's kind and merciful to people who take shelter and surrender to him. See, even if they're offenders. Lord Indra calls this an astonishing characteristic. That if someone simply offers nice prayers to Krishna, even if they're an offender, even if they're a rascal, then he accepts them and gives them shelter. This is Krishna. And Krishna is very merciful. And we can understand this is because Krishna says that ye yata mang prapadyante, I reciprocate with my devotees according to their surrender. So when a devotee surrenders to Krishna very nicely, then Krishna accepts the devotee. Even if the devotee has committed some offense, then what is the operative principle here? How can we understand Krishna's character here? On the one hand, he's very severe with offenders. But on the other hand, as soon as they surrender unto him, he becomes merciful. Why is this? Because Krishna responds to rasa. See? Krishna responds to rasa. So if we approach Krishna in the rasa of sincerely regretting our mistakes, and we surrender to him with the mood of that, you know, from now on, I'm not going to do this nonsense anymore, and, you know, I really understand the problem and how to overcome it, and, you know, it's not going to happen again, then Krishna will accept us. And if we additionally offer some service in a loving mood, then certainly Krishna will grant his mercy. And we can count on this. This is very reliable. Krishna's character is extremely firm and durable, and you know, he never changes his ways. He's not whimsical. So once we understand how Krishna's personality operates, then we can approach Krishna in a way that will lead to our spiritual advancement. He's extremely steady and reliable. This book is all about how different devotees successfully approach Krishna and offer devotional service in such a way that he accepts it. So Krishna doesn't have to accept our service, you know. He's not in need of anything. He's not a beggar. So what's his motivation for accepting our service? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit here. The next topic is Dhira Lalita. Dhira Lalita, a person is called Dhira Lalita if he is naturally very funny, always in full youthfulness, expert in joking, and free from all anxieties. Such a Dhira Lalita personality is generally found to be domesticated and very submissive to his lover. This Dhira Lalita trait in the personality of Krishna is described by Yajñapatni, the wife of one of the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices in Vrindavan. She tells her friends, "One day Srimati Radharani, accompanied by her associates, was taking rest in her garden. And at that time, Lord Sri Krishna arrived in that assembly. After sitting down, he began to narrate very impudently about his previous night's pastimes with Radharani. While he was speaking in that way, Radharani became very embarrassed. She was feeling ashamed and was absorbed in thought. And Krishna took the opportunity to mark her breasts with different kinds of tilak." Krishna proved himself to be very expert in that art. In this way, Krishna, as Dhira Lalita, was enjoying his youthful proclivities in the company of the gopis. Generally, those who are expert in writing drama choose to call Cupid the ideal Dhira Lalita, but we can more perfectly find in the personality of Krishna all the characteristics of Dhira Lalita. We all know people like this. They're always joking, always smiling, laughing. They're always surrounded by many friends. The life of the party. This is Dhira Lalita. This is Krishna. So Krishna, when he's present as a great king, he manifests his Dhirodatta feature. But when he is with the gopis in Vrindavan, he manifests his Dhira Lalita feature. See, now these two features are not at all contradictory because they're appropriate for the time and circumstances. See, it's not that Krishna would behave lightly like that in front of the elderly Yadu kings. Never. Never. But similarly, when he was in Vrindavan, unless, well, in the case that they were attacked by the demons or harassed by Lord Indra or somebody else, then he would manifest his chivalrous mood and like that. But otherwise, he was just very light and happy, and because that was appropriate. And then when he's in Dwarka or Mathura, then this other kind of attitude is more appropriate. Then there's Dhira Prashanta. A person who is very peaceful, forbearing, considerate, and obliging is called Dhira Prashanta. This Dhira Prashanta trait of Krishna was exhibited in his dealings with the Pandavas. On account of the Pandavas' faithful devotion to the Lord, he agreed to become their charioteer, their advisor, their friend, their messenger, and sometimes their bodyguard. Such is an example of the result of devotional service toward Vishnu. When Krishna was speaking to Maharaj Yudhishthira about religious principles, he demonstrated himself to be a great learned scholar. But because he accepted the position of younger cousin to Yudhishthira, he was speaking in a very gentle tone, which enhanced his beautiful bodily features. The movements of his eyes and the mode of his speech proved that he was very, very expert in giving moral instruction. Sometimes Maharaj Yudhishthira is also accepted by learned scholars as Dhira Prashanta. This kind of character is like the ideal Brahmana, that he is very learned in all the scriptures and in the esoteric conclusions of Vedanta. He knows the real meaning of the scriptures, and not just the outward words or codes, but he actually knows the purpose of the scriptures and can apply them perfectly in any kind of different circumstances. So Krishna was like that. And when he would give spiritual instruction, he would speak, well, as he speaks in Bhagavad-gītā. He speaks very clearly, very simply, But each and every word is extremely profound. And the more you research Krishna's words, you find the more meaning in them. You can go on reading Bhagavad-gītā, just 500 verses or something. But you can go on reading for your whole life, and you always find new light in it, new inspiration, new depths of meaning. So this is Krishna. This is another side of Krishna, the supreme wisdom, the origin of Vedas and Vedanta. And when he gives this kind of moral instruction, you see, learning, in the West we have this idea that learning is simply knowledge. But this is only partial, this is only superficial. Learning includes knowledge, certainly, but without the ability to apply that knowledge appropriately according to moral codes, that knowledge is very much incomplete. So Krishna, in his activities of teaching,